Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Motley GM. I'm coming at you today with a character creation video for the Apotheosis system. Now, I want to start off by saying that I did not receive any pay for this. I didn't receive any perks. The books are books that I purchased myself, but I was asked by Ian, the game designer. He did ask me to do a character creation video, and I said, sure, why not? Let's give it a shot. So, Ian, I hope this works for you. Thanks again for reaching out to me. But I'll walk you through character creation of the Apotheosis system. I'll be using the core rule book, but the same steps are used in the sci-fi edition, just so you know that right off the bat. We will go over to the PDF to do this, so it's easier for you to see, and I'll be using a fillable character sheet. Now, Apotheosis is a highly recommended tabletop RPG system from me personally, of course, that can easily be a one-and-done option for those who are looking for that. This is number 2 in my list titled My Plea for You to Play Other Tabletop RPGs, so go check that out if you want to hear a little bit more about this game and why I like it so much. But with no further babbling on about all this business, get your character ideas ready and let's go over to the PDF and create a PC in Apotheosis. Alrighty guys, here we are at the PDF. I'm going to walk you through making a player character for the Apotheosis system. I'll be using the core rules here. I will also be using a form fillable sheet. You can see here I did start filling some of this out to try to cut down on the time. However, I'll be using this. These are resources available on the website in the description below. As I mentioned, page numbers, they will be the PDF numbers. Subtract 5 from that to get the number of the actual page, and of course the first 5 pages are not numbered in the actual book. So going to page 8 in the PDF, here's the creating character. We're going to just use these steps as we go. The steps are the same in both this and the sci-fi once more. Now we're going to start with choosing a species, and I've already gone ahead and done this, but let's bring up the page. I wanted to choose one of their unique species, so I chose the bijou. Now take a little time to read what they're like. I gained a couple things out of this that I'll show you on the character sheet, but note it gives you your ability point spread, your starting spread at least, and then some things that might affect you in the game. I like to note these things on the sheet, which I went ahead and did already, so you don't have to watch me type it. So I put the attribute array here. I chose a bijou and I named them Simone, and they are true neutral. Right, I also want to describe them a little bit and put some of their species related things right here so it can remind me of that. But I already decided this is a 38-year-old who's about 5'9" and 135 pounds with light gray eyes and like a translucent green skin with no hair. Over here, it says that there's a glyph in a runic language that is somewhere on their body. So I think what I'll do is I'll say glyph in left palm. There you go. But that aside, I'll point out a couple things. Because he's a bijou, he gets 30 movement speed, and that's typical, 30 movement speed, 30 feet of movement speed. A little bit of long life, tends towards good alignment. Pretty typical as far as sizes go. Nothing too crazy there. A little short, doesn't get too tall. 6 hours of sleep before completed rest. They get Magic Sight, which allows them to use the 1-cost spell Detect Magic without using any mana or components, so that's pretty cool. You get to choose one spell with the cost mana of 0. So quickly, I'll show you the spells. 76 in the PDF shows us Detect Magic. And what I did is I wrote that here in the spell list just with the PDF page. Now this particular sheet gives you a lot of cool options here, but for me, I usually have the PDF up, and if I have the page number there, I can quickly access what I need. And I typically do that when it's not my turn, so I'm ready for my turn when it's time to go. I also got to pick a 0-cost spell, which was Compel Truth, which I chose because it fit the idea of I wanted somebody who could draw the truth out of somebody. These bijou, they're kind of mystical and strange, and I wanted this one to be able to use that to cause people to tell them the truth. So this spell fit in with that very well. So that's the 0-cost spell I chose. That's on page 71 of the PDF. So going back to our list, we chose our species and included all that stuff. Now we're going to create a backstory. Now the backstory part is dependent on you and your GM and the other players as well. So please discuss that with them. However, for the sake of this, I'm just going to give a very simple backstory. So there, I gave Simone a very simple backstory that I can always flesh out a little bit more later depending on the world or what happens. So after the backstory is made, it says now we're going to choose a background. Now backgrounds are something you actually choose from the book here. And I'm going to go ahead because I already made a backstory and I know the pastless background will definitely be the one for my character. Now, they give you a few here and a custom one, which is great. It just tells you how to build a custom one, so you could do really whatever you want. I'm choosing the passless because it worked really well for the backstory I went with. I gain +1 to any attribute of choice. So I'm going to choose Constitution. I want him to be able to take a little bit more. So we'll add 1 to Constitution. I also get 6 gold pieces. So we will add that into the money part. 6 gold pieces. I get to add 1 extra language. And I also get to add 1 expertise of choice. So with languages, they say in the description that they're Fae-like creatures, so I'm going to let them speak the language of the Fae. Fae-like. So we'll put that in the sheet under languages. I'm sorry, I forgot to add that standard was the first language from the species page. I forgot to add that, so I'm adding that in now, but I'm also adding in Fae-like. So I got that, and I get to choose 1 expertise. Now on the sheet here, the expertise are listed right down the side, so you can check off the one that you chose. I'm choosing comprehension. I want them to be able to comprehend things and be able to understand things just by observation and listening. But I will also put that under my expertise. I'll put comprehension. I like to put in parentheses what's attribute that uses, just to remind myself. You don't have to do that, of course, that's just me. So a quick note about expertise. It allows you to basically use the attribute you're using +1/2. In the example they gave here with a strength of 4, if you roll with an expertise, you get to roll a +6 instead of a +4. Just to give you a quick explanation of that. But back to where we were at in the creation process. So now what we're going to do, we've picked our species and background. Let's calculate the stats up really quick. This is what we're going to use to calculate our stats. We're going to start with your maximum EP. This is equal to 5 times your Constitution, plus 2 times your Strength, plus 2 times your Dex. For Simone here, that's 10 plus -2 plus 0, which gives me a total of 8 maximum EP. Next we have is encumbrance, 2 times your Strength plus 16. My Strength is -1, so that's -2 plus 16, which actually gives me a 14, which allows me to carry 14 pounds unencumbered, so they're not super strong. Now, movement we know already is 30 feet, but this reminds you that for every 5 pounds over your encumbrance, you lose 1 foot of speed. Unarmored defense is equal to 10 plus half your dexterity rounded up. Now, for Simone here, our dexterity is 0, so that makes our defense 10. Now, this lets us know that unless it's specified otherwise, your mana maximum and the expenditure limit are both 0. So at least for now, we will put that in here as 0. And finally, we roll luck. I'm just going to pretend I rolled a dice and got a 7 because I want my Simone here to be at least have a little bit of luck on their side, right? So I'm going to do that. You could do that too, of course. Roll it to do the thing. But I don't have a way to do that on screen for you. So 1 for luck. Alrighty, now if we go by the list, we've calculated our stats after picking those. Now we get to choose our equipment. And we're going to do this by using the money we gained from our background. So I have 6 gold to spend and I have 14-pound limit. So let's go and check out the equipment pages. All right, economics and equipment here on page 62. This gives you a little bit of information here. What you really want to take from this is the bottom. We're going to use their money system to calculate things, and I'm not going to go through the calculations. I'm just going to tell you what I spent and what I had left when it was over. So guys, instead of boring you of taking a step-by-step through everything I choose, I'll show you what I chose, but I want to let you know this is where you take a look. It gives you all the weights and costs so that you can decide how that goes. But this is what it looks like on my sheet when it's done, I decided to buy a quarterstaff, some clothes, a backpack, a water skin, and a starting kit. All this together for me cost a total of 2 gold pieces, 3 electrum pieces, 6 silver pieces, and 7 copper pieces, which left over for Simone 3 gold pieces, 6 electrum, 3 silver, and 3 copper. If my math is wrong there, somebody by all means call me out in the comment section. Also, after adding the weights, I did not include quarterstaff because I assume Simone is using that quarterstaff like a walking stick. So I'm not counting that as against encumbrance weight. So adding the rest of this up, assuming that water skin is full, I'm carrying 13 pounds on Simone there, and that's just under the encumbrance weight, and I think that works out okay. All right, now the last part of this list gives us the ability to choose abilities. Now, you can only choose abilities for any of your attributes that are above 2. For Simone, I only have 1, as you can see, 3 being the only one above 2, which gives me the ability to choose 1 of the abilities from the intelligence list. Now, when we're looking at abilities starting on page 25 of the PDF, 20 in the physical book, this gives you all of your attribute abilities. There's a list for all of the 5. I am choosing the caster ability. That gives me the ability to change my mana maximum to the intelligence score. It gives me the ability to cast spells of mana cost of 1 or less and changes my mana expenditure limit to 1. I can add 2 spells of my choice to my known spell list, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I pre-picked all of that stuff. On my sheet here, I changed my mana maximum, and I changed my mana expenditure. Other than those 2 bonuses, I get to choose 2 spells, which I did already. So what I've done is in the ability section, I wrote down caster and the page that it is found on. And I chose the spells Light, that's on page 72 of the PDF, just because I felt an innate magic user would find having the ability to put light on at any time a perfect spell to have at their disposal. I also chose the 1-cost spell, Read Mind, because once more, my character idea is that this is a magical being who can draw truth out of people. I thought it was very fitting. So I added those and their page numbers to my sheet here. And with choosing those, I've completed most of what we do to create a character in Apotheosis. Why don't I take you back over to the table? I'll give you some closing thoughts on all this and hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. All right, guys, back at the table here. Now that we've created the character, you take a little time to add in your final touches here. This is where you get a picture or make your token. If you're playing on a virtual tabletop, this is where you might decide on the voice. Maybe you want to flesh out the backstory a little bit, make it more specific to the world you're playing in. Add in your personality, the flaws, quirk or 2 that you want. Always be sure that that character meshes with the GM and the other players. And there you got yourself a character ready to play. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Apotheosis is a great classless D20 game with some awesome, unique features that I can't recommend enough. Whether you want it for just a 1-game system or as part of your entire game collection, it is definitely worth taking a look at. There are free demo PDFs of the game, some pre-generated characters, and information on the game that can be found on the Apotheosis RPG website, which I do have linked in the description below. You can buy the physical books on Amazon, and PDFs are available through drivethrurpg.com. I sound kind of like a commercial here, and I'm sorry about that, but I just really like this game system. Thank you for checking this out. And despite how much I do sound like a commercial, I want to repeat, I'm not being paid for this. I just really, really like this game system, and I hope to give it a little bit more attention. And I also hope that by showing you how to create a character, it sparked your interest a little bit and inspired you to go check it out. But hey, big shout out to Ian and the Apotheosis community out there for just being awesome. And to you for watching this video, and to my subscribers for that same reason. Play independent games, play OSR games, support the tabletop community at large, and as always, play for fun first. Thanks for watching, guys.